on the front, on the face side, okay, and then you're going to make your moves. All right, it looks a little confusing, but once you see it in action, it's a lot easier. Okay, so let me show you how it's done. Okay, now we're looking for the yellow squares in the play area. Okay, now what I like to do is I like to say the word opposite a lot. All right, now it's the same way. All right, if this is on the left side, move it to the right. Okay, the color that is with, that's the opposite, side. The color that is with goes red, goes in the opposite top corners. All right, so you got red here, so you need red in the top opposite corners. Now the square that is in R4 is going to end up in T4, but U4 is going to be moved. Okay, so you have to make sure that U4 does not belong there. All right, if that don't belong there, then it's all set up. You bring the left side down, face side middle horizontal to the left, and the left side back up. Okay, now let's look for another yellow. All right, the 8s are in the play area. Okay, so whatever color, this is a little different from moving from the 4s and 6s. The green has to go up on the top here. Okay, now this is a little different. Okay, you just move the face side to the left, face side middle horizontal to the left, and then the face side back to the right. All right, that's the only different move, all right, between the 4s and 6s. Here's another one. If it's on the left side, bring it to the opposite side, which would be the right. The color that is with orange goes in the top opposite corners. All right, orange here, orange here. Okay, the square that is in R4 is going to end up in T4, but U4 is going to be moved, so you have to make sure that U4 is does not belong there. Okay, now one other thing, like I'm working on the yellow right now. Okay, oh actually I already have 8 yellow squares. Okay, I didn't even realize that. You have to make sure that they're all in the correct location. All right, these are green, these are red, and these are blue. Okay, I didn't even realize that, but 8 squares in the top are in their correct location. So now we have to work on the bottom. The bottom color is white. Now with the white, it'll show you how to make the moves on pages 41 and 42. But what I like to do is I like to flip the cube over and put the white on the top. Reason being, like if we were working on the white on the bottom, okay, a lot of times when you're doing these moves, you got to keep on flipping the cube upside down to look where the white squares are missing, or the white square that you have where it's going. All right, but if they're on the top, everything is in your view. Okay, the whole top side and the whole play area. Okay, so that's why I like to flip it. Okay, so now let's do all the white colors. All right, now here's one in the 8th. Like this is red, so we need red over here. Okay, now if it's in F8, you have to move the face side to the left, face side middle horizontal to the left, and then face side back to the right. Okay, let's look for another white one. Okay, here's a white one. It's in the on the left side. Bring it to the opposite side, which would be the right. The color that is with orange goes in the top opposite corners. All right, so the square that is in R4 is going to end up in T4, but U4 is going to be moved. Okay, now U4 here belongs here. All right, so what we have to do, make sure that the square in U4 does not belong there. Now one other thing, if this whole bottom side was all yellow and all in the correct locations, it's okay to mess up one, because as I mentioned, we're only going to be getting 8 squares on the bottom and 8 squares on the top. All right, once this is set up, just bring the left side down, face side middle horizontal to the left, and the left side back up. All right, let's look for another white square. All right, here's a white square in the 8s. So the color that is with blue has to go up on the top here. Okay, once that's done, just move the face side to the left, face side middle horizontal to the left, and the face side back to the right. Now I have 8 white squares, but I have to make sure that they're all in the correct location. These are all red, these are all blue, these are all orange. Okay, so let's go to page 43, where we're going to be setting up the 9th square, whether it be top or bottom. Before you set it up, what you have to do is you're missing 1 square on the top and 1 on the bottom. The missing square on the top has to be in T8, and the missing square on the bottom has to be in U2, right in the front here. This is T8 and U2. Okay, now this is weird. If white is on the top, I need the 9th white square in location F8, okay? And if yellow's on the bottom, I need the 9th yellow square in F2. Now, normally you would look for them in the play area, the 4s and 6s, okay? But they're not. They're right here. So if you can't find any squares to move, what you have to do is put them where they are right now in the front, like in either T8 or F2 or F8 or U2. You can put them both in there if you want, all right? And then what you have to do is you have to move the face side to the left, okay? And then the face side middle horizontal to the left or right, but 2 turns this time, all right? You're going to move it twice, all right? The reason being is both of them colors are now in the play area, okay? So now you have, you know, anyone to choose from, all right? Like say if you wanted to do white, okay? You have to look into 4s and 6s. Whatever color you're going to be working on, like I'm going to work on the white, put that color on the bottom, okay? Now, if the white square is in the 6s, we need the missing squares up on the top and bottom in the 4s, like it has to be in T4 and U4. All right, if this white square was over in the 4s, we would need the missing squares in T6 and U6, all right? But this is in F6, so what we need to do is put the missing squares on the top in T4 and U4. Once you do that, once it's all set up, just make the move. This is the only move that's a little different, okay? You're going to bring the left side down, face side middle horizontal to the left, and the left side back up. And now your 9th square, bottom square, is in position. Whatever square you have in position, I want it in put it in F2, okay? Now all you got to do is like you did in all of part 4, complete the top side, okay? So look for the yellow, all right? If yellow's on the left side, bring it over to the right. The color that is with goes in the opposite top corners, okay? The orange goes here. The square that is in R4 is going to end up in T4, but U4 has to make sure that it don't belong there, okay? That's going to be moved, all right? Once it's all set up, bring the left side down, face side middle horizontal to the left, and left side back up. And part 4 is done, okay? You have the top and bottom sides complete. These are all yellow, yellow and blue, yellow and red, yellow and green, yellow and orange. Let's flip it over. These are all white, white and green, white and red, white and blue, and white and orange. Part 4 is done. This is the most important part to learn, because a lot of times when you're doing part 5, which is next, which is the conclusion, you're going to be completing the cube. A lot of times you'll end up getting the top and bottom sides, okay? That's why this is very important that you learn part 4. Now, part 5 begins on page 51, but before we go to 51, what I like to do is we have the top and bottom sides complete, put them on the left and right, okay? After you do that, line up the left and right sides, all right? These are 2 orange, and then the center square, okay? Always do that before you do an outcome. Put the completed sides on the left and right, line up the 2 sides and the center square. Now let's go to page 51, which is the final part of solving the cube, which I call the outcomes. Okay, part 5 is what I call the outcomes. There are about 8 different outcomes. With the left and right sides completed, you will roll the cube forward or backwards 4 times. You'll be looking at the 4 remaining sides to see if any of the sides are complete, if any of the sides have 8 correct squares, or if the sides are missing 1 and 2 squares and where their squares are located. This is where the red squares come into play. You'll look to see if the square in F8 belongs in T8 or T2 most of the time, right? When you solve the cube so many times, you're going to know what outcome you'll be working with once you start rolling the cube, okay? Sometimes when you roll the cube 4 times and you don't find an outcome, switch to completed left and right sides, okay, and roll the cube again 4 times. Then you will find an outcome. Sometimes when you complete an outcome, the cube may not be done, just the top and bottom sides will be complete. You will then have to put the completed top and bottom sides on the left and right sides like we just did, line up the 2 sides and the center squares, and find another outcome. Usually the second outcome is 3A, and after you do 3A, usually the cube will be done. If the cube is not done after the first outcome, you may have to do either another outcome or at the most 2 more outcomes. If you do have to do outcome 3A right after part 4, sometimes the cube will be done, and if it's not, you will probably end up with outcome number 4, and then you'll have to do 3A again. It's a little weird, but that's the way it happens. But most of the time, 3A is the second outcome to do, and after that the cube will be done. So let me roll the cube 4 times, all right? And like I said, most of the time, if you do it so many times, you know which outcome you have. Like I know this is going to be outcome number 2, which is on page 52. With outcome number 2, what it is each side is missing a square or 2. But the square that's there belongs on the opposite side. Like this whole side is green, blue goes on the other side. This side is all orange, red goes on the other side. All of this is blue, green goes on the other side. This is all red, orange goes on the other side. This is outcome number 2. When you have outcome number 2, like I mentioned, each side will have one missing square, okay? It's either in F2 or F8. What you want when you're rolling the cube is have only one square that's missing in F2 and 3 of them in F8, okay? So when you're rolling, this is F2, this is F8, this is F2, and this is F2. You don't want that. There's 3 in F2. So what you have to do is reverse the left and right sides, okay? Just flip it over. And now I have 1 in F8, 2 in F8, 1 in F2, and 3 in F8. What you want is only 1 in F2. Once you have that, grab that one, and this is what you're going to be working with. You're going to be looking at the squares that are in F2 and F5, F2 and F5, okay? The first two. Now, if these two are different, what you're going to do is take the top side of the cube, move it left to right 2 turns, and then take the face side, middle, vertical, and move it down. Then you're going to look at F2 and F5 again. If they're different, you're going to do the same thing. Top side, you're going to move to the left or right 2 turns, and then the face side, middle, vertical, you're going to move it down. Okay, now when you're looking at F2 and F5, if they're the same, you're just going to move the face side, middle, vertical down. Okay, and look at the next one. If they're the same, you're going to move the face side, middle, vertical down. You're going to keep on doing this until the cube is done. All right, and like I mentioned, that was very simple. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I'm going to take this cube that's all messed up and have it so that it looks like the cube that's complete. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, I'm selling this book for $13. Okay, so all you have to do is send a check or money order for $13 to Kevin Frank, and I put in parentheses the cube, P.O. Box 353, Stony Point, New York 10980 2335. If you have any questions, my email address is kmf5176@AOL. Now, once I receive your check or money order for $13, I will mail you a copy of this book, and it'll go out first class mail. You should receive it in about 2 or 3 days. Before I go, I mentioned there are about 8 different outcomes, and I would like to show you the other outcomes that you're going to encounter and how to go about solving them by reading directions out of this book. All right, so let me get the other outcomes for you. Okay, here are some of the outcomes. When you're done with part 4 and you line up you put your completed sides on the left and right, and you line up the 2 sides and the centerpiece, sometimes the squares are in their correct location. I mean, it's very rare, but it does happen, and the cube is already done. So this is what I call outcome number 1. Outcome number 4, okay, outcome number 4 will tell you that when you're rolling the cube, okay, you're going to come across one side that's already complete, okay? So that's outcome number 4, which is on page 54. It'll tell you to put the completed side on the bottom, all right? And after that, what you're going to do is you're going to roll the cube forward so that the missing squares are in T8, F2, F8, and U2. And then you're going to follow these directions, okay? When you're done, you're only going to be getting the top and bottom sides, and then it'll have you do outcome 3A, okay? Now, here are the directions for outcome number 4. It's face side move to the left, face side middle horizontal to the left, face side left to right 2 turns, face side middle horizontal to the right, face side left to right 2 turns, 1, 2, face side middle horizontal to the left, face side to the right. Now follow the directions for 3A, okay? As I mentioned, a lot of times when you do the outcomes, you're only going to end up with the top and bottom sides, all right? So what you do next is you put them on the left and right, and then you line up the 2 sides and you line up the center square. Now you're going to outcome 3A. In outcome number 3A, what you're going to do is you're going to have 8 correct squares on the top, and the 9th one will be an F8 that belongs in T8, okay, like this, okay? Now let's go to 3A, which is on page 53. There's 15 moves to do it, okay? And the moves are, it says face side to the left, face side middle horizontal to the left, and the face side to the right, okay? This will complete the top side of the cube. Now turn the whole cube clockwise 2 turns, all right? 1, 2. It don't matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise. It's going to end up in the same position, okay? And then there's 12 more moves to follow, okay? And here are the other 12 moves. Top side left to right 2 turns, face side to the right, face side middle horizontal to the left, face side to the left, top side to the left, bottom side to the right, right side up, face side middle horizontal to the left, right side up or down 2 turns, face side middle horizontal to the right, right side up, face side middle horizontal to the right, and the cube is done. Okay, very simple. All right, that was 4 and 3. Okay, I already showed you 2 in the video, and now I just did 4 and 3A. Okay, now, oh, here's 3A where I just showed you. Okay, where the square that is in F8 belongs in T8. Yeah, T8. All right, 3B. Okay, 3B is similar to 3A. The only thing is, here you're going to have 2 sides that have 8 correct squares. Like these are all green, but the square that in F8 does not belong in T8, and there are 8 white, and the square in F8 does not belong in T8. So what you have to do is find a square in F8 that belongs in T8. All right, so roll the cube. This is blue and yellow. Okay, this blue goes here, and the yellow is supposed to be there. Okay, so this is going to be 3B. Okay, all you're going to be doing is getting the top and bottom sides. All right, and then most likely the cube will be done. All right, so like you did in part 4, if it's in F8, you're going to move the face side to the left, face side middle horizontal to the left, and face side back to the right. That'll give you 8 squares on the top, 8 blue on the top. And so flip it over, and we have 8 green. All right, so then you go to page 43 where you're setting up the 9th square. When you're setting up the 9th square, you put the missing squares on the top and bottom in T8 and U2. All right, here's T8, always in the front. It's usually set up, okay? Whatever color's on the top, I need an F8, which the green is there already. Now, if the square is in position, put it in F2. Okay, and now complete the blue. Okay, just like you did in part 4. Right, if it's on the right side, bring it over to the left, the color that is with. White goes in the top opposite corners. All right, the square that is in L6 is going to end up in T6. U6 is going to be moved, so you got to make sure that it don't belong there. Once it's all set up, bring the right side down, face side middle horizontal to the right, and the right side back up. And you just got to turn the top 2 turns. The cube is done. Okay. Okay, that was outcome 3B. Now we're going to do